my husband and I are putting an offer on a home today. And in order to do that, we needed a loan, and Wells Fargo had the best rates. So to get that loan, though, we also needed to have a checking and brokerage account at Wells Fargo. And in this teardown, I'm going to attempt to open that checking account. Attempt is the keyword. And on the way, we'll discuss how not to design incentives for new users, choice architecture when you want someone to do something, and our BFF, friction. Okay, so I went to wellsfargo.com. I'll show you, this is like a direct search for wellsfargo.com, and they are offering me $300 on them to open a checking account. Very generous. Is this a good incentive? That is the question we are asking. And the question I'm asking is, do I need $300? I mean, I'll take it, but the offer does not change my likelihood to open an account. I was already going to open the account, and this is the conundrum of incentives. Many times you are going to be paying people who would already be doing the thing you want them to do, even if you didn't give them the incentive. And you don't want to do that. Why? Because that's just wasting money. And there actually was a famous kind of case with employer wellness programs. This is a large scale study done in Illinois, around 4,000 employees. And they basically measure the effect of these wellness programs. You likely know them. Your employer incentivizes you to get some check, to take some steps. And lots of money goes into these programs. It is incentivized through healthcare for employers to run these programs. And they found no effects on biometrics like weight, blood pressure, medical diagnosis, utilization, spending, employment, employee outcomes, absentee, productivity, no effects. And why was that? The conclusion for the authors is that the people who enroll in these programs are the people who are already healthy. And so these employees had lower healthcare costs and higher participation in healthy activities when the study began. And basically incentives that attract people who are already doing the thing that you want them to do are just wasted money. And so if I'm typing in wellsfargo.com, I am somebody who is likely to want to do something with Wells Fargo. And so Wells Fargo don't give me the incentive. Where should you give me the incentive? And this is likely where you should give me an incentive. If I go to google.com and I type in checking account, now Wells Fargo should be here. And it seems like, oh, Chase is here. They have a $300 Chase checking offer, free checking with Discover, $250 with Capital. By the way, all of these are sponsored. And Wells Fargo is here, but it's missing the incentive. And so this is the place, obviously, where they got the 300 is they're trying to keep up with the market and offer this incentive, but they miss the place that they should actually do it. When you click open checking accounts online, you don't have the incentive. And so when you are designing incentives, it's not people worry, should I give incentive? How much should it be? But one of the key questions is, who are you giving the incentive to? And you want to make sure that you're not actually wasting money on these people. Okay, so let's move on. So we are now going to get started. I'm going to click this. And the first decision here, it seems, is where to open my checking account. And what does Wells Fargo want me to do? It's probably likely that they want me to open it online. So they're saving their tellers and their bank branches money. But from this design, it's actually not clear about this. And you can imagine that it's possible that the Wells Fargo team assumes that I have a preference. Am I somebody who opens accounts online, or am I somebody who goes into the branch? I'm sure when they're doing user research, they kind of talk to people and ask them these questions, and people are very confident about, where they would open the account. And that actually just usually isn't the case. That instead, and this is in the behavioral economics world, we generally tend to believe that preferences are created more likely than not in the moment. And so that means that in this moment, I'm creating a preference. Do I want to open online, or do I want to open in a branch? And actually the design of this page could sway me one way or the other. In fact, we once did an experiment with a large company trying to direct people to different ways to customer support. And we just put the word recommended by the customer support channel that they wanted to direct people to, and just putting the word recommended drove more people to that channel. So we are looking for cues in our environment about what to do. We don't have these set preferences, and the design of this screen could actually change things. So here are kind of 3 quick ways you could design this screen to change things. first, you could just tell people it's recommended. Open online is recommended. That's what so we just talked about. The second one is attention, where you could visually make it so that you'd have one larger button, open online, and then one smaller link. And that's an implicit way of making a recommendation because visually you're calling people's attention to something specific. And finally, if they really wanted to be paternalistic, you could basically say, like, the option is to open online. And you could have a link that says not able to open online, see other options. And in this way, you're basically pushing people down one route and giving them a way out. But the way out is not, do you hate this? Let me tell you the 5 other options you could do. It's basically saying, if this isn't for you, here's some other options. And Wells Fargo, as they figure out kind of their digital strategy, likely will have to figure out this actual UI, this actual page. Okay, so to go through this flow, we'll jump over to Google Slides. And they're asking for something really easy here, right? Only give us your identity. So this is a easy logistical question, but a hard personal one. Like, why are you asking for my social? Is it safe? Will you do a credit check? So with great uncertainty, here comes great procrastination. And when you're asking for these, logistically easy but very sensitive information, people actually will pause, consider it, and likely drop off. And so a good UI decreases user uncertainty. Okay, now on to the somewhat easy stuff. They do a mobile verification. You have your name, your date of birth, your address, to some extras. And this is actually quite interesting because by framing it as some extras, you're actually implying that not everybody does this. Even though they've kind of defaulted it on, you're really implying that this is a decision to make and you should consider this. You could imagine another world where they're like, hey, your debit card and savings account are included in your account, uncheck if you don't want them. Just with that simple framing, people are like, oh, okay, I'm just going to assume that I get these perks for going along with this. If they wanted to make it further, they could say, hey, confirm this is where we're going to send you the debit card. You'll get it in 3 to 5 business days, uncheck if you want to delay shipping or something. And these types of how you frame the questions actually really do change even not just the opt-in rates, but our mental model of this whole thing that I'm doing with Wells Fargo. Okay. And then finally, I'm getting ready to submit here, and I submitted, and it says I can't actually apply online. And so I went through this whole sign-up flow, and now I need to go into the branch, and it doesn't actually tell me why I need to go in, nor did I ever find out. When you click here, you just have to bring lots of things with you. Very confusing. So I made an appointment for the next day, and here's the big reveal where I went to the branch and I waited. Yes, I did time it. I waited 26 minutes to open a checking account. This is from the point of sitting down where I was like, I'm ready for you, timer start. And then 37 minutes to open a brokerage account. Like, how are these banks still existing? And I think that, again, I keep going back to the Chime example, where Chime has basically offered a really appealing benefit, get paid 2 days earlier. And that allows people to get over all this friction. In the finance industry, lending is that benefit that people will jump through hoops to get to a lower rate. And so it is unlikely that these legacy banks will change if they have the allure of lending that actually forces people like me to get over the hump of sitting for over an hour with the teller while, I could just go sign up for a free checking account online with Chime or any of these other banks that let you do it online. By the way, if you're interested, this is what the, empty state of Wells Fargo looks like. It's funny too, because this is 2 weeks into me having this checking account at this point. And they should be totally freaked out with me because I have not gotten my debit card. I have not done, actually made an additional deposit, and I've gotten only a couple emails, one email about activating my debit card. And they're spending all of this time, and I think that's actually kind of one realization for B2B companies is spending all of this time with the sales, with the, the funnel management. And at the point that you're in there and you're not going to do the thing that makes you a successful user, you've just wasted all of your time kind of trying to convert me. And so a lot of heavy lifting should be on this screen. if only to recover the sunk cost of me sitting for over an hour with that teller. Okay. From that, hopefully we learned something about incentive design, something about choice architecture, and something about sitting with a teller for over an hour.